Okay, we are live. Mike is coming in good. Okay, so how is everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing well. This type of subject kind of caught my attention. So there's this teacher, right, who, through the permission of others, faculty, right, other faculty, and also a cosmetology teacher in the school, by the way, gave him permission to allow certain students within the classroom to come to his classroom and debraid his hair because he had like some type of I think like some type of interview that he had to do, something where he had to be proper, so he needed his hair debraided. So he used some of the students to actually get the hair debraded, and he ended up live streaming it. For me, as a person who's actually been looking for positive male role models within the Black community, it was very touching. This was actually what I was looking for, right? You know, amongst the sea of Black female teachers playing Pound Town and Juicy Red, right? In a classroom with a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds. Okay? And for some reason, well, actually, I know the reason why. It's kind of like the left with BLM and the far left with BLM and the false racism accusations, right? Everyone's racist but me, but it turns out like most of the people that go this route are literal fucking racists. You have a lot of people on the right who, I'm just gonna outright fucking say it, a lot of you motherfuckers pulled the Vosh card. And for a lot of people who probably don't know who Vosh is a socialist streamer. He likes to call himself a socialist libertarian, but I'm just going to call him a socialist streamer. Where most of his debate tactics is claiming to do something positive or charitable, but then turning around and painting the person as the thing that he claims that he's not trying to do. So a perfect example is like Count Dankula, right? Where he says, Count Dankula, I'm going to be as charitable as possible, and I'm going to say Count Dankula is not a white supremacist, and we're going to assume that Count Dankula is not a white supremacist. Only for him not even that far into the fucking video, will turn around and start grabbing mediocre examples trying to paint Count Dankula as a white supremacist. So you got people like this dumbass right here, BXBeastBoy. He one of these anti-woke fucking channels. The guy probably has like the surface level understanding of Marxism, like at the very fucking bottom of the goddamn pool. He's probably on the same level as Kyle and Adenian when it comes to this kind of fucking discussion. Little to no fucking political take, little to no philosophical understanding, little to no economical fucking understanding. And this motherfucker literally does him and what's that other bitch's name? The PragerU bitch. Amala I'm not even gonna fucking pronounce that. I'm gonna fucking butcher that. But Amala, she one of them PragerU types. All right. So this fucker does the exact same thing as Vosh. Where in his close to 13-minute video, he tries to sell the idea that the teacher is a predator without explicitly saying that the teacher is a predator. If it's not going to work on the left with white supremacy and racism, why do you think doing that with CP or groomer accusations is going to work on the right? Right? And I'm starting to notice like a lot of people on the right, and I'm going to really get into this guy later on after I play the fucking video. Let's play the fucking video real quick. Let me show you what the right is like so fucking unhinged on.
Time I let my students paint my nails before. The student that you see in this video has goals and aspirations to be a nail tech. Not only does she do nails, she does hair, makeup. She's a dancer, super intelligent. She's pretty much a jack of all trades.
So this girl has like a lot of dreams, a lot of skills, a lot of aspirations, right? Now, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to like this is, and I'll give the left, not the far left, right? I'll give members of the left credit when they say people who just outright just say woke because black man on screen. This is one of those motherfuckers right here. BXBeastBoy. I'm gonna start calling him BXBeastBoy from now on. He's one of them. This is what the left is talking about when you have an individual who doesn't understand Marxist praxis in action, right? Like I want BXBeastBoy to actually tell me, how is this man teaching this child the ideology of Marxism through the lens of being oppressed? I want you to explain that to me. I would really love if I'm pretty sure he's not going to watch this fucking video, but if he does, can you explain to me how is this teacher practicing Marxism in the classroom? Could you explain that to me? This is why I hate motherfuckers like you. You dirty the goddamn fucking message. You dirty the goddamn motherfucking message. This is why I hate motherfuckers like you, Kyle, Edemia, because y'all have no fucking idea of what the fuck you're talking about. And you look at something surface level and you go, is he woke? There's a black guy on the front. He's got gay painted nails. That's gay. Last time I remember, gay is woke. Yo, woke. Did I get it right? Did I get it right, guys? He's woke, right? He's woke because it's a black guy letting black females paint his nails. This is why I fucking hate people like this. They dirty the fucking message. What's up, Bam? How's it going? Love my videos? Thank you. Thank you. I try to do some streams and videos every now and again. It's just, work like slams the fuck out of me. So when I do a video, it is going to be a video or a stream, something like this. It is going to be something you really do want to watch. And I want to actually add something that I feel like a lot of people aren't really necessarily looking at. And this is just one of those things where it's like the right got it wrong. Again. This ain't the first time. They ended up getting a teacher who was gay fired simply because the student asked, "Are you gay?" And the teacher said, "Yeah, I'm gay." And he got fired just for that. He got fired just for that. So this is a message to the right, the prayer you fuck boys and all that other shit. If false accusations of racism on the far left made them racist, what is false accusations of pedophilia? What does that mean to you guys? When the teacher in question, you're saying is a pedophile or groomer. Well, actually, no, you didn't say it, right? They do that little sneaky Voss shit where it's like, I'm not saying that he's this, but I am saying through several examples which incriminates him to make him look like this. I'm not saying he's a white supremacist, but here are a bunch of right-wing talking points that they always say. So therefore, since it's antithetical to the Marxist socialist movement, therefore they are white supremacists. I'm not saying he's a pedophile. I'm not saying he's a groomer. Matter of fact, the word never came out my fucking mouth. However, let's go over the information, right? That paints this teacher who is a positive black male role model. The thing you guys been looking for this entire fucking time, ever since 2020, when BLM was marching up and down the streets. Black Lives Matter and a fucking lockdown with the virus, 99.9% survival rate. What happened to that, guys? You guys were all pro-black. Now all of a sudden you're doing the exact same thing the far left is doing. Then when an actual pro-black person or individual or an example actually exists within the fucking black community, what's the first thing that come out y'all fucking mouth? He's a groomer. Well, I'm not saying he's a groomer. Right? I'm not saying he's a groomer. But let's go over, and I want to go over the fucking evidence, right? This motherfucker has against this fucking teacher. He ain't really got much, but let's continue the fucking video.
Since that's the homie, she came up and saw my nails looking a little rough, and she decided she wanted to give me a fresh, clear coat. If you know middle school girls, I wouldn't even just say middle school, I'd say high school too. If you know middle school and high school girls, you know that they're all hairstylists, makeup artists, so on and so forth. A lot of them actually do hair for money on the side.
And a lot of people say this is inappropriate, right? Let me tackle that accusation first of all. Can anybody remember a lot of these anti-woke channels during the lockdowns of like the LGBTQ and some of those people within the public education system? Where, what was that case? It was a case where there was like a teacher who was using the computer system to triangulate insecure children and then love bomb them in private. Right? Love bomb them in private and create little special social clubs to make them feel like they're special for not being straight. Right? What was the key component in that? The key component was private seclusion. You didn't know about it until it was fucking too late. That is actual groomer behavior. This man is literally in public, in the school. The teachers knows those students are in his classroom. They even gave them the permission to do it in the first place. To debraid his hair. What is private about that? And he's live streaming on the top of that. What is groomer behavior about that? What is private about that? What is seclusive about that? Right? BXBeastBoy? What is that? What's private about? There's nothing private about that. Right? So how the fuck is he grooming these fucking students? And again, we're going to get into the fucking evidence he has on this fucking video. And congrats to the 57 people that dislike this fucking video. Congrats. I love to see videos like this where people think they can say random fucking shit and get a mass fucking following just for saying random fucking shit because it scratches the surface. Shout out to the 57 motherfuckers that hit this dislike. I'm one of them motherfuckers. I'm 56.
So if I need my hair taken out and my school's hairstylists are willing to do it, I'm going to let them do their thing every single time. It's not like they were held at gunpoint and forced to do this. They wanted to help me.
What is it, the braids? This man basically lost his job for some straight backs. Didn't even clean up the front. Oh, you did all of this for some straight back. Are you?
He lost his job because of hair, just like how that one gay teacher got fired for just simply being gay, not teaching the students that it's perfectly fine to be gay and that gay people are oppressed minority or some marginalized group of people within a systemic racist country, like the oppression lens of the Marxist theory, right? Never said anything like that. As a matter of fact, he actually had more of a pro-capitalist position. Yet somehow he gets demonized for being a groomer, right? Just like how these motherfuckers got demonized for just being racist. We're not really racists, right? I guess people on the right said, well, it's our fucking turn now. We're going to take what BLM has, we're going to make our own model. except it's going to be better with flapjack and hookers and pedophiles. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Oh,
telling me that the person that did these straight backs couldn't have taken the 10 minutes to undo your twists? Nah, because the more I look at these braids, the more pissed off I am, because this was the braids that his students was helping him like hurry up. If it was some micro braids, I'd have been like, all right, it does take a long time.
I don't know why.
Okay, so let's go over his evidence, right? Let's go over his so-called evidence. His first evidence of accusing this man of being a groomer. And I shit you not. Like, you really got to be holding on to the past and remember this fucking song. What was this motherfucker's name? Omarion? Braid my hair? And he likes to imply that because this one song exists, right, the very nature of doing someone's hair is a sexual nature. Except, he left out a key fact here. Notice how there's a difference between Omarion and the girl in the background versus the teacher, right? Omarion is literally in between the legs of the girl doing her hair. Is the teacher in between the legs of these students? She's just sitting there going, braid my hair. Why don't you braid my hair? Let me stop right there because I may actually get this fucking video fucking straight because of that. But is he singing the song? Like, there's a big difference between the two. There's a literal big difference between the two. He's not sitting in between their fucking legs, right? Arms completely visible to the camera. And then when you go back to this, it's a Omarion between the legs of his lover. This is what makes it sexual. The idea of doing someone's hair in genuine, it doesn't make it sexual in general. There's nothing sexual about it unless you're telling me you go to the barbershop and you get your hair cut and you got a raging boner in a fucking chair. Are you one of those type of people that, like, when the barber brushes dicks up on your fucking arm, you're like, ooh, you're getting a little frisky there, buddy. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, you have me dying right now. I'm literally crying with laughter, flapjacks, and I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is, man. Like, there's clearly a difference. There's clearly a difference. He's not in between the legs of his students. Omarion is. And then look at this. This is more sexual in nature, too. This is more sexual in nature than this. Like, not that. It's just him losing his job and literally crying on fucking camera. This is non-sexual. This is sexual. Because of the way he's positioned, it's not the hair. It's his position in between her legs. That's the sexual part that makes braiding hair sexual. So that's already he's already looking sussy with that. Anyways, but let's go on a little further. What other little stupid fucking shit this dumbass fucking said?
I think that it shows like something more inappropriate with teachers and students, and something along the lines of you shouldn't be doing it. Right? I don't feel comfortable.
You don't feel comfortable? Is it the fact that you don't feel comfortable around minors? BXBeastBoy? Does your hormones go into a rage when you're surrounded by minors? Clearly his didn't. Remember, everyone's racist but me. And guess what? Those type of people were fucking racists. Every fucking time. Every fucking time. So then if everyone's a fucking pedophile, right? But you, well, that's not what you said, but I am implying that, by the way. Everyone's a fucking pedophile, but you, what does that make you? A fucking pedophile. All right? All right? And literally your first smoking gun is a Marion. This old ass, dusty ass fucking song. Of course the creeper would remember this motherfucking song. Of course a creeper would remember that fucking song.
In a grown man's head. God forbid, some people start off
for this or suspended and yada yada yada.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start clearing some people. Start off with this gentleman right here. You're letting your daughters play in a grown man's head. God forbid I had kids, but if I had a daughter with a teacher like myself, with a good heart, good spirit, sound mind, no, I would not mind if they took his hair out. That's what little girls like to do. They like to do hair and do nails and makeup. I have 5 little sisters. You bet your ass I done had a wig on my head before, had a whole lace front. I done got my nails painted.
Like, is it pedophilic to teach a young boy to cut hair? To cut a grown man's hair? Is that pedophilic? BXBeastBoy? I'm just asking. I'm just curious. I know he's not here in the chat. I really wish he was here in the chat because I'm just really curious about his viewpoint on this. And I'm just wondering, how the fuck did you even like look at this and go, he's woke? Like, I'm looking at the fucking title. Woke TikTok. What makes him woke? Because he's on TikTok? Where's the Marxism? Where's Das Kapital? Right? Where's his where's his admiration for Karl Marx at? I don't get it. Where's his admiration of bringing down the capitalist system and replacing it with a cashless, stateless society? Where I didn't get none of that. I didn't get none of that. Where did that? Can someone answer that for me? Maybe I'm lost. Maybe I'm the dumb mother here. Right? Maybe there's something BXBeastBoy can actually see that I just can't see. This man can smell Marxism a mile away. Him and Amala, and that bitch from PragerU, and a lot of bunch of motherfuckers that got on this fucking bandwagon. And I want to make this abundantly clear. They did the exact same thing, not only to a gay teacher, but they also did this to a professor. His name was Alan Walker. They tried to spread the idea that he was trying to normalize pedophilia. He wasn't trying to do that. If you actually watched the 28-minute presentation, he was trying to differentiate the term, which I do agree with, that the term ends up getting watered down as people who are attracted to children, which is the actual definition, but then that definition ends up carrying other things, such as they also clearly have coitus with children, but they have no proof of that. Just because they are attracted does not mean they have been doing it, right? If that was the case, right, every male in this country, every male in this world is no longer a virgin because every male wants sex. And since every male wants sex, right, they're no longer virgins because clearly since they want sex, they've had sex. So therefore, everyone's not a virgin. It's not the same thing. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Eyebrows done. Bro, this is what they do. As a father, I would even let my daughter do those things. Like if she wanted to paint my nails pink or freaking put a wig on me or do my hair, put makeup on me.
And this is what most fathers do. I mean, for crying out loud. I remember growing up back in the 90s, all those movies you used to watch, like fucking, what was it? Kindergarten Cop? I think it was Kindergarten Cop. Mrs. Dowell, like where the male takes on a feminine role to entertain their daughter because the daughter doesn't have any other females to play with to express their femininity. There's nothing wrong with that. That's an endearing nature. We get dumbasses like him and mostly everybody on the fucking right lambasting this teacher to get fired because he's a groomer, not really a groomer, but I'm not saying he's a groomer, but let's go over the information to make him look like one. Like and subscribe. Ding! All right. Like,
I'm going to do every single one of those things. You know why? Because I'm secure in my masculinity. That's one thing that I think is stumping a lot of guys, a lot of grown men today, is they are not secure with themselves and they project their own insecurities onto others. Everything doesn't have to be weird. It's even the way you worded this question. Read this.
Curious. You letting your daughter play in a grown man's head. They weren't playing. Like they even, excuse me. Like they even watered down what was really going on. They weren't playing in his hair. They got the job done. Playing would elude that they were spending 40 an hour just doing whatever in his head, right? Being inefficient. They actually got the job done with that number of people. Well, they got it done in a way, not all the way, but they at least got the job done in a way where I actually do want these young females to expand upon those skills and run their own fucking businesses, you know? Like a real free market capitalist. You know? Yes, BXBeastBoy. Are you familiar with that? Or are you one of those guys that like talk about the Jews all the time? I'm just curious. Are you one of those types? Like, oh, the Jews, oh, they're hiding behind the trees, they're hiding behind the rocks, oh, the Jews, they control everything, oh, the Jews, oh, are you one of those types? I hope not. I hope not. It's Jesus fucking Christ.
Letting your daughters play in a grown man's head. Do you see how you're already trying to spin that? That's very telling of what you have going on upstairs. We as a people have to abandon this idea of, sexual intimacy being tied with getting your hair done. People have this view because typically you're intimate in a sexual manner with someone who does your hair. Automatically, this whole hair video is going to cause some people to be like, oh, where's that? That's weird. But again, it's very telling of your own state of mind.
And he's fucking right. He's fucking right. And a perfect example of this, right, is, I'm not entirely sure, like a lot of you are like One Piece fans. You remember when S Cobra came out? Or I think it's called S Cobra. Basically, Boa Hancock's child version, which is an android. Right? And in the manga, she has Boa Hancock's devil fruit, which is called the love fruit. And its application is any man or any person who falls madly in love is the umbrella term. I want to make that abundantly clear. Any person who falls in love with Boa Hancock, she can immediately use her devil powers to turn them into stone. Now, with love being an umbrella term, what applications of love are we talking about? Platonic love, cuteness, being adorable, infatuation. It can lean into lust, but it doesn't always mean fucking. Okay? Love doesn't always just mean fucking, all right? When someone says they love their children, do you automatically go into a freaking rage going, oh, you're thinking about ramming your children? What are you, some type of groomer? Never really said that. No one even implied that. Matter of fact, the only person who implied ramming children is you. So what does that make you? A virtuous individual who cares about the sanctity and safety of children? No. Makes you a piece of shit. Makes you a real piece of shit, right? All right, let's play the video.
Yeah, fam. I still can't get down with that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, am I insinuating that he was doing something? No, not at all, fam.
Say it with your fucking chest, you bitch. This is Vosh energy. This is Vosh shit. He might as well just have the fucking camera adjusted the way Vosh does. Have the big ass fucking glasses. And have the fucking what was that one style he had where he had his hair tied in the back or some shit? And spoke in a very sophisticated way, talking about, well, I'm going to be charitable with this person, right? And I'm going to let's assume that this person is not a white supremacist, right? And now that we're assuming that this person is not a white supremacist, watch me as I take this brush and dip it in politics that I don't necessarily agree with, which is antithetical to Marxism, by the way, and socialism, by the way. And we're going to take every right-wing talking point and go, oh, look at that. Look at that. When I start brushing with everything that he talks about, look, it starts to look like a white supremacist. Everything that he's saying is a white supremacist. Everything that he's doing is a white supremacist. Now, I'm trying to be as charitable as much as possible here, right? I want to be as nice as possible to this individual who I ultimately believe is not a white supremacist. But ultimately, as I'm taking this brush and I'm choosing the colors that I want to paint with, he's starting to look like a white supremacist. That is literally what you're doing, dude. And you ain't got the balls to say it with your chest because you're afraid to get fucking sued. You're afraid to get fucking sued. You can't say it with your fucking chest. Look at you. You're looking down. Well, then, yeah, I'm just fucking pausing the video. I'm not going to or anything. That'd be unfair. Because, you know, I can just basically look at any, pause at any frame to make it look like he can't even look directly into the fucking camera. Right? No, I'm not going to use that. That'd be unfair. But I feel like this man can't even look that. I feel like he can't even look that man dead in the fucking face and like, yeah, I know for a fact that you do that. And I'm going to prove it. You know, calling me an extremist, like this kind of stuff is getting kind of out of hand. There needs to be something more than just like financial loss to these type of false accusations, like using an ultimate evil to lambaste somebody to make them lose their financial stability. Right? You should lose a lot more than just money. But luckily for you, I'm not a statist. So I just feel like you just need to get your ass kicked. You and a lot of other people that's been on this fucking bandwagon. Like what Mike Tyson said, a lot of people got too goddamn comfortable just saying just about anything with no repercussions and getting punched in the fucking face. Now, have a lot of leftists gotten comfortable with using the word racism and accusations of racist and white supremacy to get what they want when there's no hard proof of white supremacy or racism? Yes. It doesn't mean you take the same path. You just change the fucking word from racist to pedophile or groomer or woke for that fucking matter. And then extrapolate the same economical infrastructure and then use the exact same thing. And trust me, there's a video he's done that's gonna show you how much of a fucking hypocrite he is. I'm gonna fucking play it too.
I'm not at all. I just think that it was highly inappropriate. For one, he's their teacher, and that has nothing to do with you teaching at all. At all, fam. If you're gonna go get your hair done, you could have paid them to take your hair out. Also, maybe wear a hat.
What if he did pay him? Right? What if he did pay him? We don't know that. Matter of fact, I hope he did pay him. Make 25 easy fucking dollars right there. And then you fucking fired the teacher. And I hope those students realize what type of piece of shit you are, and the rest of those motherfuckers who jumped on this goddamn bandwagon. And they look at that and they go, I want to make that abundantly clear. They look at motherfuckers like you and go, aren't you one of them pro-black cats? Almost all you all for the black community, you all for doing this, you all for doing that. Did you get my teacher fired under false accusations? I hope so. I hope that lights a fire in those kids' stomach. And they become something. I really fucking.
Maybe that's an option, right?
The pot a little, shall we?
No problem, Mr. Lee.
I decided to live stream my student.
And this is another thing. I hope this guy in question, this guy right here, Hold on.
Maybe wear hats. Maybe that's an option, right?
The pot a little shelly.
This guy. Okay. I hope one of those students is his daughter. Okay. If it is, I'll allow it. He has a right to express himself. He can be wrong, he can be right. But at least his daughter was in the scenario in order for him to actually have a more personal opinion on the matter rather than like an outside opinion on the matter. Right? But if he doesn't, if his child is not involved in that, right? I'm going to need him to shut the fuck up. And the reason why I say this is because it goes back to the Marxist ideology of he comes off as your children is our children, right? Your kids are our kids. I don't pay for their clothes. I don't pay for their food. I don't pay for their electricity. I don't pay for their cell phone bill. I don't really pay for anything. But the way you raise your kids, that's my responsibility. But I ain't gonna put my money on it. I hope he ain't one of those types. So if your kid in that classroom, all right, I'll give you free pass. You got every right to express yourself. But if it ain't, you shut the fuck up, fam.
No problem, Mr. Lee.
I decided to live stream my students helping me take my hair out.
But Mr. Lee, you don't teach cosmetology.
I would like
The teacher you talked to did.
to represent myself in this case, Your Honor.
And I'll be representing myself as the proud father of an innocent teenage girl.
I asked about 4 or 5 of my...
Notice how he didn't say my innocent teenage girl. Right? Your kids are my kids. No proof, by the way. I want to make that abundantly clear. And then, this is the thing I really want to exemplify here. There was a video of like a predator. He got arrested. And in the comment section, this is why I say like the subject of pedophilia is a very touchy subject. Because a lot of people don't know how to navigate that field. They don't know how to have the discussion without foaming at the mouth, you know? And I read the comment section. And when I said that comment section looks unhinged and it has like over tens of thousands of likes, it is unhinged. As they state, and I'm not, I shit you not. I wish I remember what it was so I can actually show you. I shit you not. They're in the comment section going, not only does the predator need to die, the family needs to die, and the extended family needs to die as well. I'm sorry, what? Why are we extending death threats to people that have nothing to do with this? Right? It's unhinged as hell. And it's a very touchy subject. Like, if you thought the false accusation of racism would literally get people kicked in, like killed because of false accusations of racism, as you walk up, or as you running up and down the street chasing an individual, telling someone he's a racist, he's a racist, he said the N-word, he said something bad about black people, and you're trying to stir up like an emotional response within the crowd for them to chase the individual and do something to him. It's the same fucking thing. But this one's way worse because there are people, right, that are so unhinged about this subject that they cannot control themselves emotionally. Like, if you thought all these 4 years of the right talking about how the left is emotionally unhinged, no, what really makes the right more emotionally unhinged than the left is this subject in general, grooming. It literally makes them that unhinged. Because they don't come from a position of academical learning of the subject. They come at it from the position of learning about the subject through dramatization through the internet. They don't read up on this shit. It's like the difference between a person that says, what's 2 plus 2? They go 4, because 2 plus 2 is 2 integers. There's one's integers, so there's one of each. So 2 plus, which is an addition to 2, you add the 2 together, and those 2 integers by themselves combined creates 4, which is still a one's integer. That is a person that grew up in the academical setting, as opposed to a person that says, what's 2 plus 2? 2 plus 2 is 5. And if you disagree with me, you are a component of systematic racism that oppresses the non-straight white male and those who are marginalized in the systemic racism of America. You uphold white supremacy because mathematics is a pillar of white supremacy, and it suppresses the minorities because they can't do math. So, in order for the black people, in order for them to thrive, you have to deconstruct mathematics, right? You have to deconstruct the math. So therefore, 2 plus 2 can be 5. It can be 6. It can be 6.5. It can be 9. Frick you and frick everything about you, because you are the oppressor and you must be destroyed. That is clearly a person that comes from the emotional position of the lens of oppressed versus oppressor. They didn't come from an academical setting, right? Because it's loaded with all this political jargon and buzzwords. And that's what this is, political jargon and buzzwords. And a lot of virtue signaling too.
Over 100 best friends to assist me in taking my hair out, and they all agreed.
And this is where things start to go south for me. You refer to them as 4 or 5 of your best friends. You know who else uses that same terminology?
I was just very close as my best friend. Now who found her in the whole wide world?
No, I'm not calling you R. Kelly, but what I am saying is oftentimes wolves disguise themselves.
Vosh. I'm not calling you R. Kelly. I'm not calling you a pedophile. I'm not calling you a groomer, but I am calling you that. I don't like it when people do that shit. It's like, say it with your chest. Like, clearly you're saying it. Just say it. And then on top of that, it's probably not your child in that fucking classroom to begin with. So this just comes off as virtue signaling. I'm the good dad, guys. Look at me. Look at me, right? I have the belt, and I'm not afraid to use the belt, right? I'm all about that discipline, you know? I'm all about that discipline, you know? I used to chase, minors across the street, across the freaking hallway, chase them down and beat them the hell out with a belt. Yeah, I'm all about that discipline life, bro. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? That discipline. You know, we all grew up on that discipline stuff, my guy. We all grew up on that. My dad chased me up and down the street, beat my ass too. Who knew? I actually liked it. Like, careful with that now. Especially when you ain't got no proof. All right. Now, I'm coming from the position of calling this kind of shit out. All right. I'm from the position of calling this kind of shit out. Because I see where it's going. I see where it can go. And I find it quite hilarious that a lot of people on the right talk about cancel culture, right? Yet here you are doing it right now. They're doing it right now. It's called cancel culture. You know, the one thing they hate, what they did to Gina Carano. What they did with J.K. Rowling. A whole bunch of other people, Dave Chappelle. That fucking beta, what's that motherfucker's name? Shit, I forgot his name. The fucking simp that paid $25,000 a brick lady. Kyrie Irving, yeah, that simp. Yeah. Oh, y'all gather around them type of motherfuckers, but Y'all want to get rid of an actual positive male role model within the community under the accusations of pedophilia and grooming. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's definitely not gonna go. It's definitely not gonna go all right. Not at all. Nope. Nope. Not at all. Not at all.
As sheep. So taking down your braids is an absolute no for my daughter. Now, I do think you're a great teacher, but what I would not want is for my daughter to get that level of security with you and then move on to the next teacher, the next grade.
And that's fine. That's fine. If your daughter was actually in that classroom, you know, it's fine. Like, no, I do not want my child having that type of level of relationship with another person. It's totally fine. That's only if your child was actually in that classroom. But if they're not, you're talking out your fucking ass. You really are talking at your ass. Okay, I have to go start making dinner. Keep up the good work. Hopefully we can hear soon. We can hop on the video games. Yeah, same here, man. Same here. Thanks for tuning in, Bam. Thanks for tuning in. I just find it weird. It's just this virtuous signaling kind of bullshit that even the right is not immune to. They'll do it too. They just have different flavors. You know, the left has racism, white supremacy. The right has the LGBTQ, grooming. You know, they learn from one another.
That happens to be a male, and he presents himself just like you, but he's actually Mr. R. Kelly.
The only difference between the two is that the R. Kelly would try to seclude and privatize the love bombing in a scenario that you wouldn't even know that he was actually love bombing your child until it was actually too late. He wouldn't live stream himself, because if he did, he wouldn't get that far. So again, how is it grooming? If it's in a public area and he's literally filming himself, it's not grooming. Like, I do feel like a lot of people are just often telling on themselves. Like, I agree on Destiny with this one. Like, especially when there's no proof that a person who is buried under these accusations is like grooming or being a pedophile or anything like that. I think a lot of these people are literally projecting their pedophilia. I don't know, maybe BXBeastBoy is uncomfortable being around minors. He can't control himself, which is perfectly fine. I mean, if you can't control yourself, hey, that's fine. Stay away from minors. Stay away from fucking minors. I work at the schools, and I am perfectly fine. I don't get no raging boner, bro. That shit stays flat the whole day. Until I come home, I'm off that clock, and I got a beer and a fucking porno right in front of me. That's when it rises to attention. Other than that, I don't know about you. Maybe you telling us something. All right, maybe you telling us something. BXBeastBoy. You get a raging boner when you're surrounded by students? I don't know. Maybe he's telling us something.
This is why I think that there should be clear boundaries between students and teachers.
I just do not think it's appropriate. But
now, I'll agree with that. Like, I'll give that guy credit. There needs to be a clear boundary with students and teachers and parents. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly 100% agree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that. I truly agree with that. The problem is that no one's actually bringing up the fact that he actually has close relations with the parents of those students on social media. No one really wants to bring that fact up for some reason. I don't know, maybe it like spoils the narrative or some shit. Who knows? It's not like this, type of work has like some type of money incentive where you don't necessarily get the money because you convicted the groomer, but rather you shamed the groomer. Which is honestly why I hate those predator channels, especially Chris Hansen. Which is funny, because he did a video on this guy. All these predator channels. Excuse me. About how, and this is why I say he's rather hypocritical. And I think the video was about, how long was that video ago? That video was about a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago, back in February 2023. The problem with predator channels. And I actually agree with it. And I gave it a like, so you can actually understand. I do agree that there is a problem with amateur predator channels going out here claiming to be cleaning the streets of predators, and they don't know the fucking law. Which is often why. And even Chris Hansen himself and that fucking show, To Catch a Predator, most of those people were let go because they didn't have sufficient evidence. Because, and in my opinion, I actually agree with it. Because there's nothing illegal about meeting a person, right? Now, you can have sufficient evidence that this man actually wants to do, let's say, like, hypothetically, right? The guy's straight up a groomer. He talks about like bending them into a pretzel. Like he wants to do the Keffels thing, right? Wants to bend them in a pretzel and do all sorts of things, stuff like that. I'd lock you and him up because there needs to be a process of doing it the right way instead of going on YouTube, right? And making these videos, doing this kind of 1 foot in the water, the other foot in the sand, saying that it's wet, but it's not really wet. I'm not saying it is wet, but let's go over the evidence on why the floor is wet, But I'm not saying it's wet, by the way. I want to make that abundantly clear for, legal reasons. I don't want to get sued. Right? I don't want to get sued. And honestly, I feel like that teacher should sue you. He should sue Amala from PragerU. He should sue a lot of motherfuckers. Just like how like that nurse who sued Roland Martin and that one dude with the fucking the fade and the cut. I forgot his name. He has like the really big glasses. Real clean cut kind of cat. I forgot his name. I think he's on Black News Network. I think that's the name of it. Yeah, they got sued for falsely accusing that woman of being a racist. Yeah, you guys should actually get the same fucking treatment too.
But I do want to also state that firing him is over the top as well. I believe that he needs to get a punishment, but not something to where it could ruin his career, right? Maybe even a suspension, and then once he come back, okay, let's chill out.
Okay, so at least he's actually defending the man, like he doesn't want the man fucking fired. I'll give him that. I'll give BXBeastBoy. I'll put a little respect on the name right there, just for right now. BXBeastBoy. A little respect on that. Instead of actually firing the individual, right? He should have some form of punishment where he can actually learn from the experience and not do it again. Okay, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. That's a form of concession I'm willing to concede with. I just find it weird that you do this Vosh kind of thing, where it's like, I'm not calling him a groomer. I'm not calling him ultimate evil. I'm not calling him a label, but let's go over the things that kind of make him look like one. Let's go over that. And then we'll title the video Woke TikTok Teacher. Because clearly, the guy with that looks like a Led Zeppelin shirt. The guy with the Led Zeppelin shirt, yeah, he's totally in that Das Kapital, bro. He's all about talking about bringing down the Jews. Yep, he's all about that. He's all about that Karl Marx life. Mao, Mussolini. He all about that life. He all about everything in the state, nothing against the state. He all about that life. I don't really see it in him. He don't look like the type of person that wants to bring down capitalism. He don't look like the type of person that wants to usher in a cashless, stateless society. You don't look like that. Like, I think you really do need to educate yourself on this kind of shit right here. Like, read up. It's not even just you need to read up on like World War II history and ultimately understand why World War II happened. You just need to understand the power dynamic of wokeism. Wokeism, if you want to understand it in terms of a power dynamic, it is switching the powers from natural to unnatural, using the lens of oppressed versus oppressor. Like, that's in terms of like a power analysis, that is what wokeism is in nature. A flipping of the powers. It is to put the weak at the top and the strong at the bottom. And I would know because I've had several jobs that are structured like that. And I always asked myself back then, before, like back in 2020, before I was even like started understanding this stuff, I said, why is it all these dumbasses seem to be getting to the top, but like the normies and the experts stay at the bottom for some reason? I just never got it. And then the people who don't really do their job get paid the most. And it's been 4 hours in the bathroom on their cell phone. I never understood it. But now I understand it because it is a switching in a power standpoint. It is the switching of what was natural, right? The smartest and the strongest on top, the weakest at the bottom. Not in terms of inferior, by the way. I want to make that abundantly clear. Weak as in you're not as strong to carry the weight of running a business. But you're good at manual labor, and that's fine. Not a lot of people can actually run a business, you know? And a lot of people are only good at manual labor. And a lot of people that run businesses ain't really good at manual labor. And that's perfectly fine. But the very nature of wokeism is flipping that power dynamic on its head and putting the weak at the top and the strong at the bottom and making sure the strong stays at the bottom because the weak sees the strong as the oppressor in terms of a free market capitalist. Right? But through the lens of Marxism, through the lens of socialism, the weak is the strong because they live the life of contradiction, which is one of the philosophy points of Karl Marx. Life in general is a contradiction. And the only thing that matters is power. Like, I really like, you really need to read up on that stuff, bro. Like, this video is no excuse for you to be that goddamn.
Our class misses you so much, and we really want you to know that we love you and we miss you so much and can't wait for you to come back. I can't believe that taking somebody's hair out is such a big deal, and it makes me so mad that people make little things big things. I want you to know that the class and others got your back, and we will always stand behind you and out for you no matter what happens. We got you. Again, we miss you and we love you so much and can't wait for you to come back. I wish that this never happened because it feels like we're losing you. Come back soon. Don't be gone too long because if you're not back by Monday, I know something's up. But anyways, I also made sure that the classroom was clean before we left. Love you, missed you. Love you, miss you. See you later. Hi, Mr. White. We've been seeing all this stuff going on, and so has your other former students, and I just want you to know that we're standing with you. I'm literally in my junior year of high school right now, and seeing this And seeing all this, you were my and many others' favorite teacher.
Like, I want to make this abundantly clear. This legitimately makes you how can I say this? In terms of your real actions, BXBeastBoy and Amala and everyone that jumped on the, I can ultimately understand where you come from, right? Especially with the whole 2020 and the child groomings and the drag queens and libraries and bringing children the drag shows. I ultimately understand that. I see where you guys are coming from. Excuse me. I see where you're coming from, and I agree with you there. That shit is crossing the line. Okay, I want to make that abundantly clear. My question to people who jumped on this bandwagon is are you going to use your platform to get this man his job back? Because I want to make this abundantly clear. Those kids fucking hate your guts. They probably think you're racist pieces of shit. Okay? And they probably already have their mind made up that you're projecting your groomer behaviors on other people and your insecurities on other people. And now they fucking hate your ass because you targeted someone, because you looked at the subject looking outside inside the building. But because your peripherals are cut out, you don't really see the whole picture of what you're actually doing. And honestly, those kids have every fucking right to cuss your ass out. These sound like some upstanding individuals. Honestly, like, I know there's a lot of issues going on in the black community, but I feel like some people on the right, especially like the so-called pro-black cats on the right, just like how the so-called pro-black cats on the left like to act, y'all get a little too trigger happy with things you find so much emotional investment in that you just kind of latch on to stuff and then you ride it without fully understanding what you're talking. Like me, this is me being really, really legitimate. Like the past couple of minutes, right, was me going inside your ass, BXBeastBoy and Amala from PragerU. That was me going in your ass. Now my question is are you going to try to get this man his job back? Since you pro black cats and everything, you escaped the Democratic plantation. Well, you mad because you ain't on the Republican plantation? Like, what's the deal? Because clearly there's plantations on both fucking sides. I don't know why the hell you think, oh, there's only one plantation. No, why would there only be one plantation? Like, if I was a white supremacist, why would I have one plantation? I want to have multiple plantations. So that way, even when you escape one, you're just walking onto the other. Right? If I was truly a white supremacist. But I'm not. Because that's how they ultimately think. They're always 10 steps ahead. They want you to think you're ahead when in actuality. Just trust me. They've been planning this for a long fucking time. Because, especially with you're probably wondering, like, why am I bringing up, like, the Jews or some shit, right? Because a lot of people have this notion that anti-Semitism is, like, purely a right-wing thing only. No, it's not. It's not a party thing. It's mostly a theology within Christian nationalism and socialism, with the key components being like Karl Marx. Because Karl Marx was anti-Semitic, right? If you actually read up on Karl Marx, he was truly anti-Semitic. Like his whole criticism of Das Kapital, right? It's just poetic words, flowery words, dressed in attacking an economical principle that's basically him attacking the Jew because he didn't have a backbone to say, you know, do something to the Jews. That's how much of a bitch he was. Right. And then you have the anti-Semitism that's been rising within the college campuses of like Columbia and Pennsylvania, Harvard, of all these, pro-Palestine protests, where it's perfectly fine to say, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, which and intifada, which is basically saying you do want the extermination of Israel. You do want the extermination of the Jews. But they play this little thing where it's like, it's not really, it's about this. And then we'll hide behind Palestinians who are Israel, who are Jews, not Israeli Jews, but Palestinian Jews. So therefore, since we have this small minority of Jews within the Palestinian protests, therefore it's not anti-Semitic. But you're using a small minority of Jews as a shield in order for you to express your anti-Semitism. I'm not saying you, I'm talking about like the kids at the college. Let me make that abundantly clear. Like the kids at the fucking, college campuses protesting in Palestine. And then you have people like Nick Fuentes, who literally calls for the death, saying that the Jews, the minority of Jews, which is like what, 5% of the fucking US population or some shit, is somehow oppressing the majority of whites. Somehow. Yet somehow white people are better than everybody else. It's such a weird type of thing where people think, oh, like these issues like pedophilia or grooming or white supremacy, it's like the party of the Democrats or the party of the Republicans. No, it's not a party of anything. It's basically, how can I explain this? It's what I like to call purifying the room. But you're not really purifying the room. You're actually dirtying. So basically what it is let's say for instance, I want to lambast everyone in this room as a Nazi, right? Everyone's Nazi. You're a Nazi. He's a Nazi. She's a Nazi. Everybody's Nazis. Everybody in here, in this room, is a Nazi except for me. Because I'm fighting the good fight. And then people go, well, I'm not a Nazi. I don't really agree with Nazism, right? So what's your proof about me being a Nazi? Oh, I have no proof. I just want to call everybody in this room a Nazi because you guys espouse right-wing talking points of like free capital market, stuff like that. So therefore, or you uphold the nuclear family, or you're not pro-abortionist. Therefore, you are Nazis. That's my proof. And it's like, nope, that's not really good enough proof. Matter of fact, Nazis weren't all that to begin with. They were actually anti-capitalist, by the way. I want to make that abundantly clear. Not a lot of people do that, but let's say, for instance, as that room starts to get larger and larger, right? Now it's 25, now it's 50 people, now it's 100. Like this guy's like unhinged. He's just calling everybody a Nazi. Nobody in this room is Nazis. He must be projecting something. And then all of a sudden, Pearl, a fan of Nick Fuentes, who is a literal white supremacist, by the way. I want to make this short, abundantly clear. Like, he literally is a white supremacist. Pearl comes in and goes, what's going on, guys? And then the people who aren't Nazis are saying, can you believe this guy? He's saying everybody in this room are Nazis. And she goes, oh, I've been through that a lot too, guys. A lot of people always call me Nazis. Like, it's this thing that's just like doesn't make any fucking sense. Like you really can't trust people like that, guys. Like, it's the boy who cried wolf. You gotta disregard everything they fucking say. You know what, guys? How about like a couple of you guys come with me? We can have a discussion. I want to introduce you to someone like Nick Fuentes or Milo Kostopoulos. And we can talk about how, how dumb these guys are. We can talk about how we can bring back the country back in like a theology of Christian nationalism and whites being on top again. In terms of meritocracy, by the way, I'm not saying whites are superior. I'm just saying, everything was right in this country when whites are running it and the government officials. I'm not saying we're superior, by the way, but I am implying that whites were superior back then. So, let's go back to Nick Fuentes and Milo Kostopoulos as we talk about white nationalist talking points. And since you already have in your mind that you're not a Nazi and then everyone in this room is not a Nazi, you're literally teaming up with a literal Nazi to talk about white nationalist talking points. That's literally purification. That's purifying the room. Because when everyone's a Nazi, no one's a Nazi. And then when no one's a Nazi, you can make them Nazis. Because no one knows what Nazis really are. Because a lot of people just don't brush up on their fucking history.
I mean, yeah.
Shut the fuck up. I know that was you. I ain't even got to look. I should send your ass back to Crenshaw P with his hot ass coat hangers, bitch. Would you like that?
Okay, I'll give you credit for the Black Dynamite. I like that. That's my favorite. That's my favorite show right there. That's my favorite move right there.
Because I think he was wrong as hell for one, uploading other people's children onto your social media. That's forever, right? I don't think that's cool. You using your students as a prop, using other people's children as a prop.
Just like how you're using this person's downfall in order for you to prop up your channel. I'm just saying.
For you to try to build a following. I don't like that. I don't like that.
I don't like it either, BXBeastBoy. We're going back to the insult right now, BXBeastBoy. I gave you the respect, right? I'm not completely condemning your video. There are some points that I actually do agree with. I do agree with the fact that, instead of firing the guy, suspension, so he can actually learn from this type of thing, I'm glad you actually hold that position. Now I'm just kind of wondering, are you actually going to use your platform to get this man his job back? It's a very good question, guys. I don't want you to virtue signal too hard. Let me know about that.
And two, you shouldn't be grooming the children. The children shouldn't be grooming you. That's just...
Remember how he said, I'm not calling him a groomer. I'm not calling him a pedophile. I'm not calling him a predator. I'm not... using some evil word, and then after 11 minutes of the fucking video, now he's like saying like he's a fucking groomer. Like this literally comes out of his fucking mouth. Let me play that again.
You shouldn't be grooming the children.
So you're grooming the children, but you're not calling him a groomer. But you shouldn't be grooming the children. Therefore, you are implying that the man is a groomer. Like honestly, two options that BXBeastBoy can honestly say here is you either get the man his job back, help him get his job back, or the man should like outright fucking sue you. You and Amelia from PragerU. Because holy fucking shit. Because she does the exact same thing like you're doing, which is kind of weird. As much as everyone hates Vosh and socialism, it seems like everybody likes to take on this position of I'm going to be charitable of this person and not going to call him a white supremacist, but then proceed to paint the person as a white supremacist, or proceed to paint the person as a level of ultimate evil when you just got through saying that you're not saying that this person is ultimately evil. You proceed to then use his behaviors to paint him as an evil person. Like, I'm not even going to play the rest of this fucking video because I'm getting hungry. But let me show you how much of a fucking hypocrite this guy is. A year ago, and I showed you this video not too long ago, but just to recap on this. A year ago, he comes out with a video talking about the problem with predator catchers. Which, again, I agree. There is a problem with a random individual with a camera running up on a random individual saying you are planning to do so-and-so with minors. With no fucking proof. And in public. In a public surrounding. I do have a problem. It's a very weak procedure, right? It has a lot of conflicts of interests because a lot of people can't be doing this for money because the people aren't making the money for the incarceration, right? they're making the money off of shaming the person to begin with. This is why they do it in public rather than luring them mostly into a private setting, because it takes a lot of time to convince a predator to show up at a private residence, because you have to build that connection, you have to build that relationship, you have to build that communication where they feel like they're ultimately in control, and that the person as the decoy is literally at the helm of the predator's mercy. That's why it takes like weeks or months to get them to actually go to a private residence, as opposed to going to a public residence, right? It's just a public place, right? It's a public place where it is not illegal, nor is it that, or nor does it, it's that sus. And it has a layer of plausible deniability. And I think that's the one thing, like a lot of predatorial channels that catch predators don't really understand, is that you need to find a way to water down their ability to use plausible deniability. And the way you do that is you give that person the ability, the control, to think that they ultimately have control of the decoy. Where the decoy is shy at first, but the predator in question is the one encouraging the meeting, and then not only encouraging the meeting, constantly, almost throughout the weeks, throughout the months, encouraging the minor to meet up at a place so they can go to some place and do something sexual. And start talking about sexual things. Right? That's how you wear down plausible deniability. That way it's more provable, right? That way when the predator does get caught, they're not, oh, well, I'm not here to have sex with a child. I'm just here to have a slice of pizza or some chicken. You know, I'm just, I can't meet up at a public place to have chicken, pizza. This ain't America. This ain't a free country. Huh? Are you telling me I can't go to a public area and just meet random people? Is that what you're telling me? Like, that's the plausible deniability you're giving. You're supposed to erode that. And I'm talking about like Predator channel. And I found it very suspicious that he made a video about a year ago talking about the very nature and the very money hungry nature of Predator channels, and literally came out with a video with this loaded ass fucking title talking about woke TikTok teacher and implying that the teacher was grooming. Like, you really need to brush up on your what woke is really. Like, you really do. Like, I really, and I'm saying this with like sincerity, I hate people because you dirty the discussion. You dirty it. When people are actually trying to point out the actual causes of what's happening in this society, and then dumbasses like you open your fucking mouth going, this is woke because the teacher, he looks kind of gay and he's doing gay things, and woke is gay, therefore he's woke. Is that what you honestly think he was? Like, I'm really curious. Like, why did you call him a woke teacher? Because he wasn't professing Marxism. He's not a socialist, as far as I know. He's not anti-capitalist. He's not advocating for the removal of he's not advocating for the removal of the nuclear family, right? He's not advocating for a stateless, cashless society. He's not on the side of kill all men, right? Like, what part of that man was woke is the question you really need to ask, other than he looks kind of gay. You really do need to respond. You really do need to answer. Because, again, it's like people like you and people like Amala That PragerU bitch. This is why the discussion gets dirty and nothing gets solved. Because dumbasses like you open your fucking mouth and you go, well, is this the thing my audience wants to hear? Well, it's woke, so I guess I can say it and I'll get the money and the views. Why am I being ratioed? I don't know. Why are you being ratioed? You add it down to a damn science, you know? But let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Let me know in the comments section. I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna get some fucking eat.